Welcome to the Future 3 podcast. Boom. I'm Sean.
I'm Shaylin. I'm Cyan.
And we are the Future 3 podcast. So, as you guys should know, after our first episode, we interview people from different professions, different professionals, to explore different careers, to educate you guys, the viewers, on what different careers are, what they do, what it's even like to get there. And today, we are interviewing our father.
He is the first guest on this podcast. Please welcome Samir Dedhia, the CEO of OneReal Mortgage.
Nice. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited to be here. I'm honored to be your first guest and wish you guys nothing but success with Future 3 Podcast. Season 1 is now upon us. Let's go.
Let's
go. All right, Dad. Before we begin, would you like to give us some background on yourself?
Absolutely. So not only am I the father to these 3 studs, but I graduated from Drexel University in 2001 with a degree in accounting and finance. I went on to be in corporate, which we'll talk about a little bit later, corporate America, for about 5 years until discovering that that wasn't the path for me. I then pivoted to getting into the mortgage industry, starting off as a loan officer, working my way up in the organization and leadership, and then now as the CEO of OneReal Mortgage. But in that time, over the last 3 years, we actually built our company up and sold the company to a real estate brokerage company, a publicly traded real estate brokerage company called Real Broker, about 3 years ago. So the last 3 years are another part of my journey, kind of experiencing that world, growing within that company, and help building out even further. So needless to say, I've been very, very busy over the last 20 plus years, but have had an amazing journey, an amazing time, and I'm blessed to just chat about it with you guys.
And you're blessed to have great kids, right?
Of course, first and foremost.
So I know you mentioned that you're a loan officer. Do you guys know what that is?
So, from my understanding, Dad, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the loan officer is basically the middleman between the consumer and the home that they are buying. Is that right, Dad?
Yeah, kind of. So think about this. A consumer's goal is to buy a home. But in order to buy the home, there's little pieces that they have to go through to get that house. One of the biggest pieces is the financing, the money. So if you think about it, our job in the mortgage industry is to help clients get the financing or get a loan in order to buy their dream home.
So you're basically like the money man.
I'm all about the money, getting money to the people.
And you also said that you were a CEO. So basically, you're mentoring others, right?
Exactly. So far in my journey, I started off as a loan officer, but then over the last 5 or 6 years, I transitioned into being the CEO. So no longer am I really dealing with clients too much. I'm helping grow and build the company.
So you're like a veteran quarterback to a younger quarterback.
There you go. I'm the vet. I'm like Joe Montana helping Tom Brady.
That's a good
That's
example.
ball knowledge right there. So, Dad, I want to get a little bit deeper into your high school life because
Yep.
that's really special to me because all of us here are high schoolers, including myself. So, when you were in high school, did you know what career you wanted to pursue or what you wanted to do?
So I didn't know exactly. I'll say that I always had a liking to finance and accounting and numbers. Through my journey and through my, growing up, I used to help Dada and Dadi at the motel a lot with not only, helping clean the rooms, but also helping with the front desk. So for whatever reason, I was more attracted to the business classes, if you will, compared to the sciences or language classes. Obviously, I had to take my, science classes and everything else that you're required to take, but I definitely loved the accounting and finance world more. Now, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And funny story is when I was a junior or senior in high school, I actually thought, and I believe I might have written this in my yearbook, that I was going to be a stockbroker on Wall Street. That was one of the things that I had a fondness for, just because your grandfather, Dada, was, even though he was a chemist, he was always investing in the stock market. So I thought that I had a natural calling, if you will, to get into the stock market world.
So basically, you didn't know what you wanted to do in high school. You were really good with numbers because of the motel. And then you wanted to be a stockbroker on Wall Street, but that didn't end up happening, right?
Correct. It didn't end up happening. So, after I went to Drexel University, I landed a really good job with a company called Ernst & Young, which is a public accounting firm, one of the largest in the nation. And I went on to be a financial auditor. So what that meant was my job was to help companies make sure that all of their numbers were accurate, and we were making sure that there was no fraud or anything that was occurring. So I worked with a lot of large companies at the time. And that's kind of where my journey began after college.
Man, that just shows the impact of Dada on people. He's obsessed with stocks, and then dad decides that he wants to go in stocks because Dada.
Yeah, but I'll say that I didn't really, when I was going through the finance classes in college, I started realizing that I don't know if I want to be a stockbroker or not. And accounting at the time, guys, was a little bit of a safe occupation or safe job, because what companies don't need accountants? And so I got into accounting, but within accounting, there's multiple fields that you can do. You're not just number crunching. I was kind of the person that came in from a third party company, working with many clients, making sure that their books and their numbers were accurate. That was my job.
So, on the topic of classes, I have a lot of classes that are specialized in certain courses. Like we have sports marketing, right? I know Sign loves that class.
I really love
Yeah.
that class.
Yeah, we have business law. We have a lot of different specialized courses. When you were in school, did you guys have any specialized courses that people who already maybe knew what they wanted to do could take, or people that didn't know what they wanted to do could explore through?
Yeah, so, I graduated high school in 97. So things were very different to what you guys have today. And I'll say you guys have a lot more advantages, a lot more classes, a lot more electives than what maybe I had or others had in my age group in schools. But again, also it depends on the school that you go to. So my school, I don't remember off the top of my head all the electives, but I'm sure there were many electives that you could take, especially in the languages, the political science fields, the business side. There was like economics and finance and accounting and all those different things, but you had limited number of fields. And honestly, look, just to be honest, guys, when I was in high school, looking back now, I probably should have been more diligent and better about the classes that I took, making sure I was intentional. But I was kind of trying to just get out of school and move on in life and not really focus too much, and said, I'll figure it out later. Looking back, I probably should have done a better job at ensuring that I understood all the different electives that were there and working with my guidance counselor to figure that out. But, I didn't go that route. And looking back, I should have, but that's one thing I could have done better.
Wait,
Yeah.
you had electives back in the day?
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
even
know
had
that.
shoes and jackets and coats, and we had
What?
cars with gas. Now it's
Just
funny
no
because we have cars
phones.
with electricity, but in those days we actually had something called gasoline that we put in the cars to get it going.
Just no phones at that time, though.
I
The
didn't
cell
think you were
phone
that
didn't occur.
young.
I didn't get my first cell phone, guys, till probably freshman year of college or sophomore year of college. In those days, there was no
Damn.
apps.
That's crazy.
You could
Was it
only
like a
use your
flip phone?
phone. It was a flip phone. You could only use your phone to text or call. That's it.
That's why you want to get us those. You want us to feel
That's
how
why
you
I
felt
definitely
during
want to
those
get you
times.
guys that, because I feel like now the phones are very distracting.
No.
Then you can't play games on your phone. What would happen if I didn't have Madden to play all day, every day?
I know.
You could
Brutal.
focus your time on figuring out what you want to do in life. How's that sound?
Yeah, I know. Picking the right classes for high school.
There you go.
When you were in high school, you said that you really liked history. Is that true?
I loved history. I still love history. Yeah.
So, what persuaded you that you wanted to go into the business world instead of history?
It's a great question. I thought of history more as a hobby or something fun just to learn. I didn't really think of using my passion for history to move that into like a career, if that makes sense. So at that time, I really didn't think of it. I thought of history as a class, just something fun to learn, but I didn't think of something as like a career to move into to make money off of.
So in school terms, you basically just thought of it as an easy A.
Yeah, although history is not easy. I don't know how you
No,
guys are
it
doing.
is
How are you
pretty
guys doing
hard.
in history class right now?
Not easy.
B.
My
Yeah, it's
grades are
not
not
easy.
doing good.
Yep.
I mean,
It's
I
hard.
got a
It's a
good
hard
grade.
class, but again, you have to enjoy it.
Yeah. And every aspect of school, really, you kind of have to figure out a way to enjoy because some of that information is actually going to be valuable, although at the time you may not even know. Like, I'm sure there's been many lessons in, like, math. For example, math. Like, I know
Oh my
this
god.
kid does not like math. I'm pretty sure. You like English, I know that. But, yeah.
He doesn't like any class.
Anti-school right here.
He doesn't like school, period.
So, anyways, so in math class, you guys may, or even I sometimes see like doing numbers and addition, subtraction. I'd see that as a waste of time for the most part because I'm not going to really use, let's say, find the median of certain things or any of that. I'm not really going to use that in the real world. But there's the problem solving aspect that really is important. So sometimes you just got to dig a little bit deeper and see what's actually important to enjoy school a little bit.
Yeah,
Quote of the
Yeah,
day.
and look,
completely
here's what
agree.
I'll say. Here's what I'll say, right? At the end of the day, everyone, whether you're in high school, in college, even afterwards, you need to think about what your goals are. And your goals can change. Totally fine, right? But whatever your goals are, in achieving your goals, there's going to be some things that you do that it's almost like a requirement. You're not always going to enjoy everything that you do, but it's a piece of what you need to do to get to your goal. So even though you or others may not enjoy certain subjects, I would treat them as subjects that are helping you get closer to your goal. Think of it from that aspect, and I think that'll take a lot of the anxiety off. Again, there's many things that I've learned in school, guys, that I probably don't even use or apply, right? And that goes to say for everyone else out there.
Like the Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, but think of everything that you're learning as just another opportunity to learn. And I think for us, we talk about this a lot, guys. There's a lot of kids out there in the world. Forget about us. We're pretty privileged to be able to go to a great school, live in a great town. But there's a lot of other kids out there in the world that don't even go to school or can't even afford it, right? In these smaller villages or these third world countries. So think of it as an opportunity. Just be positive about it, just in order to kind of achieve your goal.
Wow, that's actually a really great piece of advice, Dad. You're a smart man.
Yeah, I learned a little bit in my time so far.
So, you told us that you started at Ernst& Young. And how did you really find that opportunity to get there? Because that's a really big company.
Yeah, so at Drexel University, they had something called the co-op program, and that was a program where you worked for 6 months and went to school for 6 months. And guys, you actually got paid pretty good money to work for the 6 months. But not only forget about the money piece, they helped us with interviewing and job fairs and resume building and all these things at Drexel, which helped us kind of start the ball rolling earlier, if you will, with careers. So from there, I worked at a company called Arthur Anderson, which was a pretty large accounting firm. And unfortunately, they didn't have an opportunity for me to be in Philadelphia. And I've wanted to work in the financial services sector, which meant that my clients were financial companies. You can, you can work in different sectors like healthcare, technology, whatever it may be. I wanted to work in the financial services sector, being an auditor. So Anderson didn't have that. Ernst & Young in Philadelphia had that. So I decided to interview with them. And then I ended up getting the job with Ernst & Young.
So, you majored in accounting and finance, but how did you become a loan officer and then later a CEO?
So it's funny how things work out in life. And after I graduated college, I went to Ernst & Young. I thought I was going to climb up the corporate ladder. That's what I was envisioning. And for whatever reason, I wasn't passionate about what I did. I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to enjoy. And every day I would go to work and it was fine. And it was a job and it paid the bills at the time. And, I got married to your mother in 2003 and I continued on my path at Ernst & Young. But something inside of me kept telling me that, I don't know, I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't having fun, but I didn't know what else I wanted to do. And as luck would have it, in 2004, I met an individual who owned a mortgage company, and he and I were just chatting about mortgages. And at the time, guys, I didn't know anything about mortgages. So we talked a little bit, and it was funny because what I started realizing was it's not so much about knowing the mortgage industry or the products, but it's more about connecting with people. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try this part-time see how it goes. I just started networking with people, talking to people in my networks and, Dadan Dadi's network, Nana Nani's network, friends, family, whoever I could talk to about mortgages. I would just say, hey, I'm in the mortgage industry. I can help you. And things started working and started picking up. And one of the things that I'll say is that I had to self-teach myself. So I read a book called Mortgages for Dummies, which people laugh about, but I still tell that story to everyone. That gave me the consumer aspect of the mortgage industry, just so I understood what consumers were kind of facing or being taught about mortgages and buying a home, which actually gave me a great way to help me, because instead of learning or teaching the way everyone else did, I was learning from the consumer aspect. So now I was starting to understand what they were being taught, what they were being told. And I was able to position and educate them in a way that would help them make it simpler to understand how to get a mortgage and what it all meant.
So, Dad, I heard you mention networking, and you keep telling us it's very, very important to network with other people. Do you mind telling the
Yeah.
audience why?
Yes. So I believe networking is key regardless of industry and regardless of profession. At the end of the day, it is important to have the education, the knowledge, and all of those things. But we're all human beings. And in order for us to grow, I believe, in my opinion, you have to be able to connect with other human beings. So for me, I've always enjoyed connecting with other people, learning their story, seeing if there's opportunities where I can help them grow in whatever it is that they're doing. And that's what I mean by networking. It doesn't mean going out there and just talking to random people about nothing that's valuable. I always look at networking as, how can I offer value to you and help you grow? And if I can do that, typically the person will always reciprocate and you build connections that way. But I'm always big on networking. So if you're really going in to a conversation or a group of people trying to figure out how you can help them by learning about them, by understanding what they do, figuring out, is there something special that I can help them with and offer them with? That's where networking then propels your whole entire life. And look, I owe a lot to the network I've built. And I think the network that I've built and Mom has built has also helped you guys, right, in all kinds of different aspects. So when we talk about networking with you or other people, remember, networking, I think, is going to help you and anyone who does it grow significantly more than people who don't network.
Guys, networking is important.
And that's honestly the only thing that ChatGPT is probably not going to take over at this point. It's probably just not going to take over the human connection part of it. So it's always important to build that human connection and not just be super bland and plain. Have a good, likable personality that other people like, so that you can build those connections and eventually have a great network.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and look, here's what I'll say, guys. I could be as smart as I am. I could know all the different mortgage products. I could be the smartest mortgage knowledge person out there. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter, because to your point, Shaylin, AI can take over and teach people that, right? But what you can't replace with AI is, what you said, the human connection. And I've built my career on connecting with human beings. And there's different ways to connect. I never got paid a salary. If I close a deal, I get paid a commission on that deal. If I don't close a deal, I make no money. That's how my world worked for 20 plus years. So it was very important for me to find ways to differentiate myself from other people in the industry. So how did I do that? I started with education. To me, education is the best way to market. If I can educate my clients on different aspects of the process, of different products, of things that work better for you versus someone else, they're going to respect me more. And so someone taught me this a long time ago, guys. When you walk into a room and there's 50, 100 people in this room, do people look at you as the expert in whatever field you're in? And so if you become the expert, you become also a thought leader inherently, where people now trust you and say, hey, Cyan, he's the person I need to talk to about sports marketing, for example, because he's built years of this. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and not everything is going to work according to plan on day one. It takes, and I think you guys, Sean, you may have said it in the first episode, with Dadan Dadi and Nana Nani, it took them years to get to where they are today. So I tell young people all the time, you have to be patient. If you really love what you do, trust that it's going to work, build connections, do the right thing, and be as helpful and, purposeful as you can to helping that person grow. And I'm telling you guys, things always work out in your benefit.
Trust the process, just like Joel Embiid did.
Yeah, and hopefully this year it works.
Yeah, I know, seriously. But Dad, really quickly, can we take a step back? When you were talking about after college, you said that you were part-time as a loan officer.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
what did you only do that for part-time and then do nothing for the other part-time, or did you have another job while you were working as a
So
loan officer?
I was nervous about leaving Ernst and Young at the time and just going right into mortgages, especially because your mom and I had our first home. We were newly married. I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to take this leap of faith, that it would work. And look, when I first brought this to Dad and Daddy's attention and to Mommy's attention and everyone else, it was everyone was nervous. Obviously, makes sense, right? I'm at a corporate company. I have benefits. I'm making a salary. Now I'm talking about leaving all of that behind and going into something where I only make money if I close the deal. What happens if I don't close the deal? I put no food on the table. That's the way it works. So that was the risk that I was willing to take because I wanted to go into something that I thought I would enjoy. So when decided I wanted to try out mortgages, I was still at Ernst and Young, but I was only doing the mortgage piece on the evenings and weekends when I wasn't working. I would talk to clients. I would, network with them. I'd go meet them. I'd talk to them about whatever. I'd go to the office, the mortgage office, because at that time, this is all pre-COVID, right? Everyone was always in the office. I'd go there on the evenings and weekends to just learn from people, right? And just grasp and be a sponge, be like a student of the game because I knew nothing about mortgages. I'd take notes all day. So those are the things that I would do. So I was doing that all part-time, Shaylin, until I decided probably about 5 to 6 months later that, okay, I started getting deals and I was pretty good. I could tell that I was like the younger person at the time in the industry, in our community, where people were definitely liking my style, if you will. And I could tell that I had something different that other loan officers weren't doing. So then at that point, when I felt comfortable that I could leave, after about 6 months, I think it was, I left Ernst and Young and went into being in mortgages full time.
Dad, I'm gonna ask you for a little piece of advice here.
Yep.
So, what advice would you give to younger kids like our age or people who are in their 20s just starting out their careers? How could they learn different skills? Like you went to the office, but nowadays post COVID, it's just everyone's virtual, online, on Zoom. How could it be different and what advice do you have to them to learn new skills from other professionals in the field?
Yep. So, anything is possible and people adapt. So, I would say my advice is if you need to learn something or, if you need to figure out how to shadow people remotely, talk to that person about what they do. Hop on their Zoom calls, right? Hop on calls with them. Be remote. Like hop on a Google Meet, for example, and just shadow things that they do. So I think there's opportunities out there. Again, it depends on the role and what it is, but things that are client facing, things that are maybe based on finance, accounting, things like that, where you can sit behind a desk, technology. I think it's become very easy for people to find a way to shadow people remotely instead of being in person.
Okay, so Dad, obviously
Mhm.
you need skills to go to become a CEO or a loan officer. Like a quarterback, they need good throwing skills and they need to know how to read the defense. So what skills did you use to help you become a CEO?
Yeah, it's a good question. So to become a loan officer first, I tell people that you don't need to go to college. Like, there's nothing out there to say, hey, I'm going to go major in being in mortgages, for example. It just kind of fell on my lap. But I would say the finance and accounting side helped me have better conversations with clients because I sounded like I knew what I was talking about in those worlds. But then transitioning over time into the CEO or any leadership role, like I started off as a vice president and a sales leader and all these different things before I became CEO. So it's not like you go from loan officer to CEO. You're taking step by step by step by step, taking on more and more responsibility. But I'll say that the role of a CEO is not just to have the knowledge, because you've had the knowledge for so many years that everything just kind of comes out, but it's really about making decisions. And every day I have to get up and make decisions about something at the company. So a lot of the skills that I grew over time, number one, it was communication. I would say the biggest skill that I had to, and I love to talk, as you all know, but I had to
Mhm.
really be more concise. I had to speak clearly. I had to be more specific with my communication. Then I had to be very organized, right? If I'm balancing my work life, my personal life, I don't have the luxury of having unlimited hours in a day, right? We only have 24 hours. So I had to be very, organized in what I did. And I had to be a good teacher because at the end of the day, as a CEO or as a leader at a company, your job is to help motivate, inspire, and lead your people. That's the three things that I say all the time. But in doing that, how are you doing it? What's your style of leadership? For me, my style was always education. How am I teaching people the best way to do it, the most efficient way to do it, and also helping them grow and to possibly become future leaders?
That was bars. Not gonna lie.
That was what?
Bars. It's a
Oh,
Gen
that was
Z thing,
bars.
bro.
So, from based off of what Dad's saying so far, the mortgage industry doesn't seem
Yeah.
super boring. I like the customer talking aspect of it and dealing with other people, which I personally enjoy.
Really? It just seems so boring. Like you close a deal, then you're done, then you do it again, and then you're done, and it just keeps going over and over again.
Guys, I think we should actually ask the real expert here. Dad, is it fun or boring? And what is like the biggest misunderstanding about mortgage?
Yes, look, I love mortgages. I think it's fun. What I will say, Sean, is it may feel like from the outside looking in, it's the same thing every day. It's different. Every day is different in the mortgage industry. You're finding out new problems, you're figuring out new strategies, you're meeting new people. So if you love meeting people and problem solving, I think the mortgage industry is great. Um, the biggest misconception I would say is kind of what Sean was saying is boring. People think that it's like pushing papers all day, like it's being behind a desk all day. I will say that I'm barely, even when I was a loan officer, I was barely behind the desk. I was meeting people. I had team members or, coworkers that would help me with the paperwork aspect. My job was to be in front of the client, educate them, learn about the different products out there in the mortgage world. So think of mortgage guys as like high energy sales coupled with strategy coupled with teamwork. We're kind of like financial detectives, if you will, and we're just solving problems every day and figuring out what works best for what consumers. And the best part of it all, if you really think about it, most people, they're buying a home one, maybe once, twice, three times max in their entire lifetime. So they're trusting us with one of the biggest purchases of their lives to help guide them. So once you're done a transaction, Sean, you're not really done. You close the deal, yes. However, your job is to still maintain the relationship with them because all of my referrals and like all of my clients, they all came from previous clients of mine. So if I did a great job, I was what they were expecting or more, they're obviously going to tell their friends and family to work with Samir, and that's how my business grew.
So, Dad, I have a quick scenario for you. Let's
Okay.
say you really love the mortgage business, you want to get into it, but you don't know how to like network and talk with people.
Yep.
How do you make that work if you want to really, really be in the mortgage industry?
So if you really want to be in the mortgage industry, what I recommend is chatting with people who are in the industry today. And what you'll find is people like myself and even other people out there who've been there for 10, 15, 20 plus years, we love educating others in the younger generation on mortgages. So find a person, find a mentor that you think can help you, intern with that person, learn from that person, be a student of the game and ask as many questions as you can about it and learn. I will say if you go now social media online, there's a lot more resources than when I was growing up. So obviously you can check, you can go online. AI is a great method as well, a great platform. But the real action is meeting with someone who's in the industry today. That's where you'll gain the most expertise and knowledge.
Thanks for your great advice, Mr. Samir.
Anytime,
All
buddy.
right, Dad, before we close out this episode, we want to ask you, do you have any questions that you would like to ask us?
Um, I think for me personally, I would like to know, are there things that our generation, your dad and mom's age and our friends, can do better in helping high school students figure out where they want to go in life?
That's a good question.
Beep. I got it. So, to help us, I would say focus maybe more on the soft skills because I feel like that's going to help everyone in the world succeed. Like, you've done a
Mhm.
pretty good job about it. I don't know about other parents, but I would just say a piece of advice is focus on the soft skills like networking and creating conversation with other people and being able to be likable and friendly. I think that's the most important trait to have.
So,
And I
so
think that should be focused
do
on.
you think guys like in school, like education systems, high school, college, do you think the education system needs to do a better job of teaching those soft skills?
Oh, most definitely. Because most classes are just very bland. They just teach like the facts and yeah, like what he said. They don't.
1 plus 1. Where is Australia?
It's just very bland. So they need to like teach more stuff and like networking.
In addition, I think the schools should stop banning AI and encouraging it to be used in a responsible manner. Because think about it, the school's literally restricting AI from being used on our computers. So I think that AI is going to take over. There's no way that anyone can avoid it at this point in life. So we should just be taught how to use it responsibly and not abuse the knowledge that AI has. I know you love AI because Dad helps Sign a lot with using ChatGPT to make practice tests all day, every day. Version 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, everything.
My World Civ teacher really encourages us to use AI. She even uses AI to like make the study guides and the tests because she
Mhm.
loves using it, and she says we can only use it if we use it responsibly, which I really like about her.
So one thing I'll say, guys, as we wrap up is, I think those are great answers, and I think most students don't realize the power that they have. You all and your friends and people in your network have a tremendous amount of power to change things. And what I'll say is, my advice to the younger generation at large is, there's always going to be quote unquote what we call problems, right? Things that we need to change or enhance or improve. So instead of focusing on what the problems are, I would encourage all of you to focus on what solutions you all can bring to fixing certain things that need to be changed. For example, the soft skills, the AI, those are great suggestions. What I recommend to you all is find ways in either yourselves or in a group of people to figure out, put a plan together of why AI needs to be implemented in schools, how to teach it responsibly to students, how it can help them. Because I do agree, AI is massive. If you're not learning AI and how to use it in the right way, you're going to be left behind. That's just the reality. So I do agree there. And I think so many schools are focused on the subjects and how to teach things and just to kind of get you to the next level, then no one's teaching you how to even network, for example, properly, like
Yeah.
what skills or what things you need to do. So those are all great suggestions. My suggestion I'll leave you guys all with and your viewers is, be the solution. Don't worry about the problem. The problems are always going to be there, but it's up to you guys as a group and as a unit to figure out how to solve those problems.
For sure.
Yeah. Quote of the year right there.
There you
Yeah,
go.
all right. So I think I'm going to go read some Mortgage for Dummies. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna use social media because we have that, you know.
Yeah, whatever you guys can do, like always educate, always do what you're doing. I think this is a great podcast. I'm excited about where this goes. Great job. And for the viewers out there, if you need to get in touch with me, you can follow me on social media. I'm sure we'll drop it in the caption. Reach out to me for any advice or questions you may have. Parents, students, it doesn't matter. I'm here to help in any way I can. So thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
We
of
appreciate
course.
you, Samir.
All right.
We are the Future 3 Podcast, and we out. Peace.
Peace.